First thing is, I am the moderator today, but there will be 3 more forums, and the moderator's position, and this gavel right here, that one, will rotate. Next week's forum will be moderated by Mr. Dylan Barnes. Then Lisa Peoples-Hurst, and finally the election prelude in November, first Saturday of November, maybe our vote. I want to thank the Consortium for Community Development for hosting this. I want to echo what was said. We panelists have had no instructions other than to conduct a fair, open, impartial, and neutral and educational series of forums so that we can have an informed electorate, and we hope a good turnout at the voting booth. I want to thank the other members of the panel for giving their time. They're going to introduce themselves in a minute. I also want to thank you, members of the audience, and I am going to ask a favor of you. If today's panel and forum is helpful to you, useful to you, interesting, remember there are 3 more involving the ward and commissioner candidates, the at-large commissioner candidates, and the mayoral candidates. If this is useful to you and interesting to you, please tell your friends. Please bring them out. There are sessions all across the city, and we would ask your help and support. I'm going to introduce myself very briefly, then ask the other members of the panel to introduce themselves, and I'll go over ground rules very quickly. Again, my name is Greg Ledesky. I am an attorney. My practice is in Benton Harbor at the corner of Water Street in Maine. My practice specializes or focuses in wrongful termination, labor and employment, discrimination, disability, municipal law. I do juvenile and educational work and other kinds of work in my practice. I'm a proud graduate of the University of Michigan, 3 times in fact. So I bleed blue, but and my heart goes out to you for those of you who are rooting for MSU on Saturday. I also have a business, the Stratus Group Consultants. We do diversity consulting work, and I did chair the original Institute for Diversity and Leadership of Lake Michigan College, and moderated a series of debates and workshops there. That's me. Now I'm going to ask the other members of the panel to introduce themselves.
Good evening. My name is Lisa Peoples-Hurst. I was born and raised in this community, and I'm currently a resident in the city of Benton Harbor. I'm a certified substance abuse prevention specialist for the Berrien County Health Department. I'm a strong advocate for voter education, and that's why I'm sitting here. I'm a proud 1979 graduate of Benton Harbor High School. There's a classmate in the booth. Thank you very much. And a 1984 graduate of Michigan State University. Go green, go white. I married my high school sweetheart, Andrew Hurst, and I'm a mother of 3, Brittany, Brandon, and Bryce. You will stutter when you say that. And a grandmother to Braylon. So very proud member of this community. I'm past president of the Benton Harbor St. Joseph Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I'm also a member of the Race Relations Council. But more importantly, tonight, I'm sitting as a commissioner for the Michigan Civil Rights Commission in this capacity, and I was appointed by Governor Granholm in 2008. And I'm very happy to be here in my home community as a panelist this evening. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Dylan Barnes. I was born and raised in Benton Harbor, Michigan. A proud 1988 graduate of Benton Harbor High School. Currently the president and owner of Loyalty Construction Company, licensed and insured. I'm the founder and executive director of Jumpstart Incorporated. a former First Ward Commissioner of the City of Benton Harbor, and a former Paul Martin President of the Benton Harbor Alumni Chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Mimi Yarbrough. I'm a Berrien County Commissioner for District 4, which covers all of the city of Benton Harbor and a portion of Benton Charter Township. My fellow panelists told the years that they graduated, and I'm going to tell you the year I graduated from Benton Harbor High School, and do the math if you want to. I am a proud graduate of Benton Harbor High School with the class of 1959. I attended Western Michigan University. I have a number of certifications in housing management. For 30 years I worked in housing. Many of the apartment complexes that you see, when I started, some of them were just ground, and now they are thriving and still working. I also worked for Michigan State Housing Development Authority as the Berrien County housing agent for the Section 8 rental subsidy program. I traveled all over Berrien County. I'd like to let you know that I was also a member of the Benton Harbor Area Schools Board of Education for 9 years. During that time, I held the offices of President and Secretary. I'm involved in my community. On the Berrien County Board, I am a member of the St. Joseph River Harbor Authority. I'm a member of the Berrien County Land Bank Authority, and I am on the Michigan Works Board. I'd like for you all to pay attention and look and read in the legals and on the Berrien County site and see when there are vacancies on boards, because we're always looking for people to serve. I'd like to let you know that I am the mother of 2 children, Dawn Yarbrough of Milan, Italy, and Niall Yarbrough of Atlanta, Georgia. I'm so pleased to have been asked, because I think that it's so important that we vote. I marched, I remember, I know what it took. And I even thought about it that even women were not allowed to vote at one time. So this is what I say to everyone. Every time there's something to vote for, try to be educated about it, and please vote. Thank you.
Thank you all. I'm going to very briefly go over the ground rules and the order of business for the day. The centerpiece of this forum are the 7 proposed charter amendments that are going to be on the ballot November 8th. We are happy to have with us a speaker who helped draft those charter proposals. An attorney from the law firm of Miller Canfield in Kalamazoo, Michigan. She will be primarily explaining the ballot initiative language to you. She will then, after going through them, and there will be overhead presentations. Incidentally, we panelists are going to come down so as not to block your view so that we can see. She will then take questions from the panel, after which we hope to have questions from the audience, and that's why you were invited to take 3x5 cards. Again, please ask questions that have to do with the ballot initiatives themselves. There will be other opportunities to talk about other issues of interest to Benton Harbor citizens. We then will offer those candidates for mayor who are here today the opportunity to ask a question or two of the speaker. We will then invite the candidates for mayor up. We have chairs here for them. We'll ask them to give a short statement. The length of the statement is going to depend on how much time we have, but again, it's our intention to be fair, to give people an equal opportunity to speak, but to hear people out. So we hope that the candidates will take that opportunity not only to ask questions of our speaker, but to give their own positions and opinions about the ballot initiatives. My role as moderator today, I think, should be an easy one. I hope the evening runs itself. I will step in as moderator only if I believe that we're straying outside the bounds of what we're here to discuss today, namely the ballot initiatives, but there's a lot of content in those. That said, I'm going to invite our guest speaker up. I'm going to ask her to introduce herself, and we, the panel, will take a seat among you.
Jessica Wood, and I am an attorney at Miller, Canfield, Paddock, and Stone. We have offices all over Michigan. I work in the Grand Rapids office and the Kalamazoo office. And tonight we're just going to go over, I've essentially just taken the ballot questions that you will see on the ballot in November and put each question on a slide. So it will not be a long presentation, but I thought the easiest way to go over it would be to have those ballot proposals before you. First, I thought I would touch on the process that has to take place before a home rule city, which is what the city of Benton Harbor is, can change their charters. The charters are like the Bibles of the city, and so in order to make changes, there's quite a lengthy process. Is that me making the noise?
That's a drummer.
Oh, okay. Okay. It's a lengthy, complicated process to change a charter, and so it doesn't happen all that often. When it does, it has to go to the people for a vote. But backing up a minute, charter amendments can be proposed in one of two ways, either by the members of the city commission or by initiatory petition. In other words, the citizens can get together and say, we would like you voters to vote on whether to change this section, this section, this section of the charter. In this instance, the emergency financial manager steps into the shoes of the city's governing body and is allowed to put these on the ballot that way. So that's why these are going to be before you on the ballot in November. So ultimately, it's the voters that decide whether these changes take place. And if these get voted down, then those provisions within the charter that you'll be seeing here tonight do not change. They stay the way they are. Just in terms of a little history, the city charter was initially drafted, I believe it was 1923, yeah, quite a while ago. It was amended then in 1945, and that's actually the version of the charter that I worked off when I tried to draft these proposals. It was then changed once in 1971. An ordinance allowed the terms of the commissioners to be lengthened to 4 years. There was a small window in the law where you could do that legally. And that's because election dates had changed. And so the city council at the time took advantage of that opportunity, and it was changed to 4 years. But if you look at your city charter, it still says city commissioners' terms are 2 years. So if you've done any of that research and wonder why there's that discrepancy, that's why. And then later, and I think it was 1983, there was one other amendment to the city charter which reduced the number of city commission meetings, because at one point the city commissioners had to meet weekly, and that was viewed as too frequently, and rightly so. And so the number of meetings got reduced pursuant to that amendment. However, aside from those changes, which were relatively minor, the city charter has stayed the same for all these years. And there's a lot of it, if you were to read it from cover to cover, that I think you would find is quite outdated. Not just the language, but some of the boards and committees that it sets up that no longer exist or no longer applicable and so forth. That being said, these are proposed city charter amendments, not to be confused with proposed city charter revisions. And in the law, there's a big difference. If you were to go through your charter and want to change every single thing that you felt was outdated or needed to be sort of modernized, that would be called the revision, and that's a different process, and that's not the process that I'll be discussing here tonight. Rather, when you take a few things that are considered relatively minor by the Attorney General's office, and those things are called amendments, and that is the procedure that was followed in order to put this before you on the ballot in